right, it's 5:30. Shall we get started? Looks like we have all of our council present. So let me go ahead and welcome everyone to the Mesa City Council study session for Monday, April the 6th. Obviously, we are not meeting in our council chambers. We're meeting remotely due to the coronavirus situation that has prompted us all to exercise physical and social distancing. So thank you, everyone, for participating by the use of technology. The first item, as far as the roll call goes, I will say that I'm looking at a screen and I can tell that all of our council is present, but we're going to have to do roll call votes today. So why don't we just practice by me asking everyone to announce your presence. So we'll just go in the order of districts. Mr. Freeman, are you present?
I am, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitaker?
Yeah, present. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Mr. Heredia?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Duff?
Yes, here.
Thank you. Mr. Luna?
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson?
I'm present.
Thank you. Okay, the first item on our agenda for this meeting is to review and discuss the agenda for our April 6th regular council meeting that will take place at 5:45 following this meeting. So council, please refer to that agenda. I know currently we have one item scheduled to be off of the consent agenda, but we have had a lot of blue cards turned in electronically. So if you don't mind, maybe I'll start by asking Ms. Mickelson, what items on those blue cards have requested that items be taken off of the consent agenda?
Mayor, only item 6F has been requested.
Okay, so currently then, in addition to agenda item 10A, item 6F at the public request will be coming off of the consent agenda. Council, are there any additional questions or information you'd like about any item that's on the consent agenda?
I just would like a second to review those two items just so I can see what they are.
Okay, item 10A has always been off the consent agenda. That's the public hearing on the annexation, or it's just releasing the petitions for the annexation. And it's a procedural vote. And then 6C is a speed limit.
Okay, got it. I'm good. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Mayor, if I may, on item 5.
Was that 6C or 6F?
6C. It is. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Smith.
Yes, on 5D, if I may, we've made just a little change to this resolution. This is the item that deals with the renewal of the Central Business District that we've talked about at this study session. It's something that the state statutes required a couple of years ago, and we're just doing a redesignation. And so section 1 of this resolution, we added, I think it's actually a total of 5 additional words, which we mimicked from the state statute. And so section 1 now reads, the council hereby redesignates and renews each slum or blighted area and the single central business district within the city of Mesa as required by ARS 426209F and depicted on Exhibit A attached here too. So that's how it reads right now. And if you go to Legistar right now, that is what's in Legistar. That was we added those 5 words today. So I just wanted to make sure that council was aware of that.
Mayor, also 6F was requested to be removed from consent. 6C was not requested to be removed from consent, but I do have a speaker card. She just indicated that she opposes it. She did not wish to have her comments read.
Okay, thank you. So I misspoke. You were right, Mr. Thompson. It was not 6C, it was 6F that was removed from the consent agenda. Correct, Ms. Mickelson?
Correct.
Okay, so Jeremy, I misspoke. It's not that there's someone has a blue card on 6C, but has not requested that it be taken off the consent. So unless a council member directs otherwise, we'll leave it on the consent agenda. But prior to voting, we will hear the comment cards from those who want to be heard on the item.
Mayor, and also just a reminder, all the items under 6 are introduction of ordinances. So that may be something to clarify also, that all those items, including 6F, are set for introduction.
Right. So for the, maybe the public that's watching, all items under 6F is setting, it's just introducing those ordinances. They'll be the subject of a public hearing 2 weeks from tonight at our meeting on the 20th of this month. So that is, we're not voting on the merits of that case. We're just voting on the procedural item to put it on the agenda. The same is true for agenda item 10A, which is off the consent agenda. That again is a procedural vote, not resulting in an annexation, but just issuing petitions so the property owners can apply for an annexation. Okay, council, anything else you'd like to say about our agenda for this evening? So just again, to be clear, my plan is at the prior, we'll have Mr. Kevin. Christopher, thank you. Kevin Christopher.
How'd you forget that last name?
I don't know. Mr. Kevin Christopher will read our consent agenda, except for items 6F is the only thing we're taking off. But there are several items that the public wants to be heard on. So Ms. Mickelson will read those comments prior to us voting on the consent agenda. And then after that, we will go to the items that have been removed from the consent agenda, which is item 6F, and then item 10A, which is already off of the consent agenda. Does that make sense? Do people agree with proceeding forward that direction? Okay, thank you. The next item on our, and I apologize to Kevin Christopher for spacing on his last name. The next item on our agenda for this meeting is item 2. That's a current events summary, including meetings and conferences attended. Council, anything you'd like to share with us? Yes, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, late last week, I was on a Mesa Industry and Defense call with Senator Sinema. It was a really great call. It included a lot of our partners from across all of Arizona, but she was really looking and asking questions on who can help in the fight on COVID-19, what businesses are out there that are willing to help, whether it's with PPE or respirators or what have you, and what are some of the challenges that they're facing that her office can help navigate and work folks through. And so it was a very good meeting. We have several businesses in Mesa that are interested in helping out. And so it's going to be an interesting time to see how we can get some of these businesses retooled and get them helping out in this fight on COVID. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Yes, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor. This past week, I was in the large city council Zoom meeting for large cities in National League of Cities, and quite a discussion amongst from San Jose to Atlanta to Philadelphia to Washington, D.C., and other major cities in our United States, and how they're dealing with the COVID, the hospital, the PPE, public safety. And we discussed a wide variety of sectors and concerns for our respective communities. And it was pretty mind-opening. In fact, I have to say for the record, Washington, D.C. has set aside out of their rainy day fund $25 million to help small business navigate through this crisis in their community. And I thought, wow, to have 25 million just set aside to do that is well, they have the money, I guess, to do that. But regardless, next week I will be hosting it. Well, actually, this Friday I'll be hosting it out of Mesa. I'll be the host city for the large city council, which I participate in. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Luna.
Yes, this past Friday, I had an opportunity to do a joint meeting with Lily May, who is the mayor of Fremont, California. She is also the president of APAMO, which is the Asian Pacific group that is part of a constituent group for the National League of Cities. Together, we spoke on what our communities are doing to ensure that they are receiving the information related to the COVID virus in their native language. So I certainly touted our Facebook in Espanol and our ability to communicate with our Spanish-speaking residents. She spoke about what they're doing for their Chinese residents as well as other Asian residents in their communities. So it was a good effort for the National League of Cities to promote the constituency groups. And together we worked on trying to make sure that our appropriate communities are given the information related to the COVID virus. And these were certainly examples that could be shared. So the National League of Cities is putting that conference on, and that phone conference on the website.
Great, thank you, Mr. Luna. Council, any other past events you'd like to report on? I'll just report quickly. Last Thursday at our study session, I announced that we were going to do a digital small business summit, and that took place last Thursday afternoon. Congressman Stanton joined us for that, as well as Jay O'Donnell from our Economic Development Office and Sally Harrison from the Mesa Chamber. I think we were able to push out some good information for the business owners, large and small in Mesa, that are looking to get questions answered about the stay-at-home order and the CARE Act and how to go about participating in the SBA loan program. So that program is still recorded and up on social media. So if you've got small business people that might benefit from that, I'd encourage them to take a look at that meeting from last Thursday. We're going to do a similar event, looking forward to the next agenda item schedule of meetings. This Thursday, the digital summit that we're going to convene is going to be about education. And we're going to have Pete Lesser, the superintendent of Mesa Public Schools, as well as Dr. Lori Berkwam, the interim president at MCC, and our Mesa librarian, Heather Wolf, discussing what we can do to support our children and families while they're going through this interesting time of studying from home. And so I think that will be, there's a lot of families in Mesa that I think that are in that situation, including many of ours, mine and many of yours included. So I'm looking forward to pushing out information from the K-12 districts and the Mesa Community College, as well as letting people know what resources, even though the libraries are closed, what online resources we have that families with school-age children can participate in through the Mesa Public Library. So please help me get that word out. It's this Thursday at 1 o'clock at the mesaz.gov/education summit. Thank you, Council. Anything else you'd like to report on from this last week? If not, Mr. Brady, obviously we have a different schedule of meetings, so why don't you rehearse for us what our upcoming schedule of meetings looks like?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, again, we will have our study session this Tuesday, tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You'll hear briefings again from the police and fire chiefs, as well as an update on the Mesa Cares initiative that's ongoing right now, to kind of bring you up to speed on where we are with that initiative and the outreach that we're doing today. So that'll be tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and then we'll have our regular study session Thursday at 7:30 in the morning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there, just to kind of let you know how this meeting is we're going to transition from one meeting to the other. Is when we adjourn this meeting, rather than immediately jumping into the agenda for our next meeting, that we still have the video that rolls prior to beginning the regular council meeting. So after we adjourn this meeting, I'll just, it's already, looks like it's about to be 5:45. So we'll probably end just right about on time. I'll just stop talking after we adjourn this meeting. We'll wait for the video to roll, welcoming people to our regular council meeting, and then we'll commence that meeting. Also, Mr. Smith has told me that we can do a unanimous consent to adjourn this meeting. So would anyone like to make the motion that we adjourn this meeting? Thank you. I saw Mr. Freeman's hand go up. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. By unanimous consent, then, this meeting is adjourned.